Hello, everyone. Hello. This is Rabbi Bolton speaking. I am now giving this class in the evening instead of the morning because in the morning I was at my grandson's bar mitzvah. Got called to the Torah, and that's in Miron. That's like a 3 hour drive from here. So I was not here, but here I am now. So let's never too late. And tomorrow there'll also be a class. Class. Friday, I'll give a speech, an essay. Now it's in an essay, but originally it was a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe about what it says in the beginning of this week's Torah portion that Yaakov wanted to reveal when Mashiach was going to come, but he didn't. And the Rebbe will discuss what does that mean? Why did he want to reveal Mashiach will come, and why didn't he reveal? And so, what's so bad about that? And what's so good about it? Why does the Torah tell us about it? And how do we even know that there was such a thing? How we learn that from the words of the Torah. So tomorrow morning, be with us 8:15. But now let's continue. Okay. This week's Torah portion is talking about Mashiach, as every every speech that the Rebbe gave, especially in those last years that the Rebbe spoke. Now, as we know before, the Mashiach is going to be a person just like Moses, and he's going to come to what do you say, orientate the world, to change the world's focus. And instead of people thinking about themselves, people will start realizing that God is really good and God really helps us and God really cares. And all these things that you learn are ridiculous in the universities are really the fact. And people will start to realize that God is creating us and that everybody's different, everyone is unique, and everyone has something to contribute to all mankind. And everyone will be free. But people have to, first of all, be aware of what God is. And that's what Mashiach is going to do. Then, one of the big aspects of Mashiach is that basically the reason that there's bad things in the world today is because they're really good things, but they were misused. And true, the ability to misuse them is also a gift from God, that we can make mistakes. And that's one of the reasons why it's so easy to get forgiven for doing the wrong things and doing sins, etc., because the one that gave us the ability to do these sins and created the world in such a way that we're encouraged to do them is God, the creator. Okay, so basically all bad things in the world come because of our bad choices. And as soon as we make good choices, then that flips the whole thing around. And the Rebbe gives the example that of the destruction of the first and second temple. He said the first and the second temple was mainly connected to the metaphor. In the metaphor, the three ingredients that were used to build the tabernacle were gold, silver, copper. Gold, silver, and copper. So he said, the Rebbe said, the first temple together with the tabernacle that was before, that's like gold. And the second temple, that's like silver. And the 2,000-year exile that we're in now, that's like copper. Because the word copper in Hebrew is in nechoshet, and that comes from the word nachash. Nachash is there, referring back to the snake, the serpent, that tricked Adam and Chava to eat from the tree. So nachash. But the third temple, which will put an end to the exile, and it'll put an end to all of the mistakes which brought about this exile. It'll transform that nechushet, that nachash, which nachash happens to be the same numerical value as Mashiach, but he doesn't say that here. Transform all of that to be good. How can it transform? So in Hebrew, the word for iron, iron, that's going to be the third temple is made of iron. The third temple, iron, is the word barzel. And barzel itself means iron. It's a a negative thing. Weapons of destruction were made from iron. Weapons of murder and war. Those were the things that destroyed the temple. But like we said before, everything is really potentially good, but it's just good misused. So if used properly, then Barzel are the first letters of the four mothers of Judaism: Bilhah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Leah. And they were so, which the Rebbe explained that means a sense of humility and a sense of harmony with the truth and etc. So that's what we talked about. Okay, what is the Rebbe trying to do with all this? What's he trying to do this? The Rebbe is trying to sort of get us used to the idea that reality is much more real than we can possibly imagine. Reality is much more permanent and real than we can possibly imagine, but not from our point of view, not our definition of real and permanent, from the Creator's definition of real and permanent. And therefore, everything that we do, if it's the right thing, if we make the right choices in this world, then everything we do becomes infinitely real and permanent and interesting and alive. That's why it says death will be gone, and there won't be any more death eventually. And every instant will just be, we'll appreciate it like the first instant of our lives. Because in a way it is. I mean, God is creating us brand new. Okay. So that's what we're getting up to. The Rebbe is trying to get us into this sort of Moshiach mood, that Moshiach is not just an idea from a few flakes, in Orthodox Judaism, but it should be the main idea of everybody. Everybody should be a flake. The whole entire world will be one big flake of reality. And we'll realize that if we use the world properly, then we can reveal here all the creator of all flakes, creator of all being. And everything is infinitely more important and real and alive than we can possibly imagine. And that's the idea of the Moshiach. Okay, Obekol and Iskolel, and all this we said before, Nosaf Eloi, is especially, there is added. Wait, 1 second, did I record all that? 1 second, 1 minute, let's see. No, yeah, I am reporting. Good. So it's added, especially this talking about Mashiach coming and changing the world and transforming all bad things to good things, and everybody will start making the right choices and etc. This is the Rebbe is especially now in our generation. Now, when the Rebbe spoke this was what 32 years ago. What was it? 32 years ago the Rebbe spoke this. So of course you can look at it two ways. The Rebbe said it. Mashiach is here, and this is the year. And if it passed, so that's it, passed. But it can't be, because Mashiach has to come. And we've had at least 2,000 years since the temple was destroyed. 2,000 years of people saying that's it. It's not going to come. It's not going to come. 2,000 years, but the promise is still there. So Mashiach has to come and has to change the world. The world cannot continue in this comatic state forever. The Torah promises it, but it just requires a certain amount of faith. And the Rebbe wants to sort of enhance this faith to know what we're waiting for. Says the Rebbe, our generation is the last generation of the exile and the first generation of the redemption. Take your choice. Kodesh, like the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, that he is the leader of our generation. He is the Yosef of our generation, like Yosef in the Torah, right? That Yosef saved the whole world, right? Like it says, Yosef Arishon, that he let everyone know, Pakod Pakadati, that we're getting out. That one day you're going to get out of Egypt, right? Yosef said, Pakad Pakadati, you're one day going to go out of Egypt, right? You might get sunk into Egypt. 4 generations, think you're never going to get out, but don't worry about it. Don't forget it. The day is going to come when you're going to get out of Egypt. That's what Yosef said to all the Jews when they came into Egypt. And this is before they became slaves. But nevertheless, Yosef promised them, Yosef, right? That's in our Torah portion. Yosef, he was the king of Egypt. He promised them, that God said, I will take you out of this land to the land that I promised to Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov. Shekavar Nishalmo Kol Masenu, says the Rebbe, that's it. We've already finished everything we have to do. B'kavar Kol Kitzim, all of the projected times when Mashiach is supposed to come have arrived, and everyone has already returned to God. At least that quantum mass of Jews have already turned back to the Creator. So we've already prepared everything for Moshiach to come. Everything is prepared for what's called the big feast, the meal, which is going to consist of what's called Leviathan and Shura Bar. This mystical meal of fish and meat, which is going to be partaken of from an actual huge fish and an actual huge ox. I don't know. Anyway, yayin and meshumar and all this wine. We'll understand what this is when it comes. But it's going to be physical. It's going to be actual physical fish, meat, wine. And especially Hadgashan, especially in this year, says the Rebbe. What was this year? This year was a special year of redemption. Now, like I'm saying, the Rebbe said this 32 years ago. This year is the special propitious for the total redemption. Like the Rebbe said, all of the projected times when Mashiach is supposed to come have already arrived. This year is Tav Shin Nun Beit, right? Tei Shanat Niflot Ba. This is a year that there are miracles in it. Tav Shin Nun Beit. The year that there will be miracles in it. So we have to change it around a little bit in our year, but the words are almost the same. Our year is Tav Shin Pei Dalid. So instead of Niflot, we can say Plaot, which is the same word. It will be the year that the Plaot, there will be Plaot miracles, right? You can say Dgulot, great miracles. In any case, make up whatever you want to. The main thing is Mashiach has to come. That's Ubakal, Bakal, Mikal, Call, that everything is here. Like it says that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they all projected the Mashiach coming. The one of them said Bakal, Mikal, Call. They were all, that's what they call the Holy Temple. Each one was in the place of the Holy Temple. Shekaya Lagula, this is talking about the future redemption by means of the Mashiach. Sha'az then Yehu Kol Inyanim, then everything will be in a way of niflaot, wonders, miracles. So if you look around in the world now, for instance, you see that there's this tremendous anti-Semitism, just wondrous, all of a sudden just popped up. Who would dream that in America they could go through the streets and say, kill all the Jews? Put all the Jews in gas chambers, and Hitler didn't do a good enough job, and etc. And on the other hand, they're saying the Jews, they're the Nazis. And on the other one hand, they say, okay, good, the Hamas, they killed a bunch of Jews, but that's no reason to punish everybody. What are they going to punish everybody? And on the other hand, they say, Israel is killing this, so let's kill all the Jews. So let's, punish everybody. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. But the fact of the matter is it's we sort of can't see the end to it. Because what's really going to be the end in Penn State or Harvard? They're going to say, "Oh, we made a mistake. Well, really, we should have never said that before." I mean, they've got no reason for saying it now. So something internal, which is not going to go away, is pushing them to hate the Jews. What is it? I mean, I made a video about it. I just put it up again. I made it like last week, but I'm putting it up again now. I just put it up. You can look at the site. What's pushing them to do that? Now is not the time to analyze it, but that's the fact, is that's what's happening in the world. Amazing. America, who would dream that in Harvard, there were so many Jews in Harvard? Probably there's also a lot of Jews that are the ones that hate the Jews also. Could be. But never, who would dream there would be such a thing like this? So what is the end? What's it going to be? What's the solution? The same thing in Israel, right? They're taking the Hamas, and let's say we defeat them all. But you have a whole new generation. The foolish Israelis allowed these people to educate their children in all the schools to hate Jews. Right? Like in California, they educate the boys that they're really girls and the girls that are really boys, and teach them to be whatever it is, profligates or whatever they want to call it, libertines. In Hamas, they're not this wild, the education. They have a very concentrated, clear education of who we are. Who are the Hamas? We are murdering the Jews. That's it. and all the young kids are there. So even if we get rid of all of the Hamas, so in another 3 years, all these kids who are like 13, they'll be 16. Right, and then they teach them in the schools already how to shoot guns. So that's the next one. So when's the thing going to end? Well, what's the solution? What is the solution? So the Rebbe says the solution is Moshiach. The solution is simply Moshiach. It's going to be a human being that's going to, instead of destroying Egypt like Moshiach did, like Moses did, he'll destroy all of the bad attitudes in the world. And then people will just say, well, that was really stupid. It'll be a big miracle. It'll be a miracle, my friends. Miracles mean something that are totally unexpected, that are unexplainable, that are totally unpredictable according to all the laws of science and nature and physics and everything. Miracles. And that's what the Jewish people were created by. That's what the Jewish people live on. And that's what we have to be waiting for. Mashiach is going to come, and there's going to be big miracles. And the miracle will be the biggest miracle, that everyone's attitude will change. Their attitude will change toward God. Their attitudes will change to the Torah. They'll realize all of the religions in the world. They'll drop them all. They'll realize that serving the creator of the universe is better than all of them. Not to say that religions are necessarily bad. No, we're not talking about bad. We're just saying that they're just worthless. They're just lies. They're just false. This is a big miracle. This is a big miracle that this is 4/5 of the Jews did not leave Egypt because they didn't want to. And Egypt had to be destroyed. In the future, it won't be that way. All of the Jews will want to, and Egypt will not have to be destroyed, which means the world. Okay, this is especially this year. We said this is the year that it'll be big miracles. Everything. Shekai. This is talking about the future redemption by means of the Mashiach. Like it says, the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. God says, I will show you miracles. Right? Big prophecy by who? By Micha, right? Micha, prophet Micha. There'll be bigger miracles than the world going out of Egypt. Sha'az, then you call in the future redemption everything in a way of niflot. Everything we see will be a miracle. A rock in the street, the flower in your garden, right? Your next door neighbor's shoes. Everything is a miracle. But would be and everything more. Bakom mikol. This is the level of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is talking about how they describe the Holy Temple. The blessings that were given to the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob regarding to the future redemption. This is talking about the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that each one of them tasted. God gave them a taste of the world to come, of the raising of the dead. By Shleimus Shabbat, the completion in this, that by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all of the Jewish people, and also by every single one of the Jewish people that will be in the future to come, which should be in the next second or whatever. Shekumu, then what's going to happen? There's going to be the raising of the dead, and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will actually be here in physical bodies, Yachad Imam, with all of them, the 4 Imahot. The abbreviation of Barzel, Bilhah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Rachel. The 4 mothers, Sora, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, and the 4 Imahot together, and as I said, Sora, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, and they gave birth to the 12 tribes, the Shevatim, with Bilhah and Rachel, Zilpah, and Leah. Right? There's the 4 mothers, and those are relevant to Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, But the mothers of all the 4 tribes, that's only relevant to Yaakov. Those were Yaakov's 4 wives. Adarabah. Even more, Nekeva Sovav Getter, like we said, that the feminine aspect will be higher than the masculine aspect. The receiver, that's why all the souls will come into bodies, because the body will be higher than the soul. The physical will be higher than the spiritual. Like it said, Eshet Chayla Teret Bala, a woman of valor is the crown of her husband. The physical will be higher than the spiritual. Ukamugash, like it's stressed in the order of the 4 mothers and the Rosh Tevas of Barzel. Bilhah, who was a maid servant, is higher than the mistress. than Rachel. And Zilpah, that was the servant, is higher than Leah. And together with them, all the Jewish people, what from all of the generations, all those Jews that died in the Holocaust and that died in the expulsions and died in the Crusades and died in the pogroms and then died in the Inquisition, all those people will all raise up those Jews that died alone, and they thought that they died for the sake of Judaism or because they were Jews, and they thought nobody even cares. Everyone will raise up from the dead. It says, they will wake up and rejoice all those who sleep in the dirt. You believe it's true? It's a little bit hard to believe a thing like that. I mean, listen, it's never happened before. A little bit it did. It says in the prophecy of Ezekiel, it said he made like 20,000 people come back to life. He rose up the dead, goes up to life. And there was also the story with Elisha. He made a child come back to life that had been dead for a couple of days, raising the dead, coming back from the dead. And the Torah is filled with cases of Elijah, the prophet himself, appearing all sorts of places. We have stories of the Baal Shem Tov and other people appearing in their physical bodies. We have okay, anyway. Therefore, in our generation, in our year, this is stressed, and mainly and the purpose of the future redemption that is in the beginning of that was there in the beginning of the time of exile. What do we say? The first destruction of the first temple. We talked about that, and we said Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to Jerusalem in the first temple. So the destruction of the first temple was really like a seed put into the ground, that from it will come the third temple. So the beginning of the destruction, that really brought to the final total end, which is going to be the redemption, even though it took like 2,500 years. How much more so after we complete all of our deeds now in the time of the exile? Take of them yet immediately. Will come, mamash, will come, the GEULA nitzitz, the immediate redemption, and the Beit HaMikdash nitzitz, and the eternal third temple, b'pol b'gilui, actual and revealed. And even if you don't believe in all this stuff, right? But at least you heard it. You heard it. So when it happens, it won't like be totally new to you, right? They'll say in the newspapers, the third temple came in Israel. You won't say, what? What is third temple? What is Israel? What are you talking about? What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything, right? Understand? No, you'll know. Third temple. The Lubavitcher Rebbe talked about that. And I didn't believe it back then. I saw this also. There's also this fake news. Maybe, no, fake news is just like, against Trump or something. This has nothing to do with politics. The third temple is here. So, wow, this is really great, It'll actually become B'poel B'gila, really. Sha'az, then, Royim, we can see, Shetmuras on Matzor al Yerushalayim, that instead of being laid siege to, the Jerusalem was put under siege, Nasa Shlemus Hisrachvus, that Jerusalem was contained in, that Jerusalem was spread out. Like it says, Rama v'yizkava tachtea. It says that it'll be, elevated something, and v'yashva tachtea. The Oretz Harachav, the land of Israel, will widen out until it'll be like Prazos Teshav Yerushalayim, that Jerusalem will be spread out. It says that in the future, Jerusalem, the holiness of Jerusalem, says that the holiness of the Holy Temple will spread out to all of Jerusalem, and the holiness of Jerusalem will spread out to all of Israel, and the holiness of Israel will spread out to the whole world. What does it mean, holiness? That we'll see the Creator, we'll feel that we're being created. Kavan, since Shatira, Yerushalayim, since that Jerusalem. So, we must be pretty important if God is creating us. That's pretty amazing. You feel pretty, amazed. You think, wow, if so, I'm really important. So what should I do? How can I express this importance? That's what the Torah is. God gave you the Torah, gave you an instruction manual. How you can connect to Him and connect the world to the Creator of the universe. Reveal it. The whole world will be like a holy temple. Since that in the future, Yerushalayim is going to spread out in the land of Israel. And the land of Israel is going to spread out over the whole world. So the whole world will realize the oneness of the Creator. The Tamuras of Barzel, in place of Barzel iron, of the bad side, destructive, that's connected to the destruction of the temple. There will be a complete barzel of holiness in the building of the third temple. Going to happen, supposed to happen soon. I hope it happens really soon. It's really, the situation is very shaky in the world. And also over here in Israel, there's soldiers that are dying. There are soldiers that are dying, young, beautiful, healthy, young men. I mean, I'm sure God knows what he's doing, but I'm also sure that I don't know what God is doing. I have no idea what he's doing. And I'm sure that God also knows that we have no idea what's going on over here. So he has to have mercy on us and, on everybody. Alpis, according to this movement, so it's not understood. Halima, the teaching of the Horah and the, how do you say, the lesson. And the empowering shalochim that we can take from this Parsha Vayechi. You have to remember that all this we're reading is written by God, and God is writing it right now. This is not just a thing that God wrote a long time ago. It's like Shakespeare, and it was like, how long was it going? Shakespeare, 500 years ago or something. Shakespeare was back there, and he's died, and he's buried somewhere. This is talking about, this is written by God, and God, we know where he is. Where is God? He's creating us. He's infinitely close to us. And this is God's words right now. So this is giving us a power. It's written for us. God wrote it for us. It's not just some secret hidden away book, only for the elect few or something. Everybody's the elect few. Shalochim in Parshas Vayechi. This is the special lesson and the empowering and the inspiration that we can get from Vayechi, but regarding to actually what we should do. Like it says, Zaro B'chaim. It says that just like Yaakov is alive, just as his offspring are alive. But we have to be alive. We have to add on an addition in thought, speech, and action, and continue the thought, speech, and action of Yaakov, so that it should be really eternal. Bezuria, like a seed. Seed, we said, like a seed, you do a commandment, you don't think you're really doing anything, but really from that grows a tremendous blessing. In the Torah mitzvahs, this brings immediately the real tzmicha, which is the geula. That's what we talk about. Tzemach David. We talk about the plant, the sprout. What do they call it? The skion or something? Skion of King David. But okay, regarding to the poil of the Zaro of God's of Jacob's seed, right? We Jewish people were called his seed, his offspring. Is also Zaro also means his offspring, but also his seed. This is an addition in chinuch habanim habanos. This gives an extra emphasis on education. Because when we're talking about planting seeds, it means that when you do a good deed, you don't really see what you're doing. Like when you plant a seed, you don't see anything growing up from that. But the emphasis on when it's small, the seed is small. So when you teach a child to do something good, you don't see the results immediately. But you're making a seed that's a fertile seed. Kola, this includes also Vishinantam Lovanecha. You should teach them, also your children, also your pupils, that what you teach them has a eternal power. Shaholich v'nimshach, that is drawn down even when the father stops teaching them, the rabbi stops teaching them. Right? Children learn things when they're 5 years old. And here in religious Judaism, a child starts reading when they're 3 years old. They start learning when they're 5 years old. They already know how to read. The lessons that they receive then are lessons that last them their whole life. This is drawn out into everything that they do, and in the whole course of their life that they live. Because the whole idea of education that's made in a way of zuriya. If you educate the children in a way that it is, you want it to be fertile, fruitful, so maybe that it brings the hamshich tzimicha, that good things should come out of it in those children and in their children and in their children's children until the end of all generations. Then in this is known the nitzvahs, the chai hamachanech, that you see that the influence of the teacher, And in this case, it's saying that Yaakov was the teacher, and just like his offspring are carrying out his way, that keeps him alive. That shows that he's still alive. Similarly, regarding everything that Yaakov did, that's called Zuriya, everything that he did, which is called planting, Shakol Pula Prati. Let's talk about us, me and you. Every good deed that we do, Maisechad, one good deed, one good word, one good thought. Nasit Tekif Anitzchos, this immediately makes a powerful, eternal planting. Many, many good things come out of it. So like a Jew that puts on tefillin one time, or he gives charity one time. So you think that this is done one time, and the deed that you did lasted for a minute. But the fact is that it's eternal. It's above time. Time doesn't have any effect on it. And this one good deed, it has fruits and fruits of fruits. Every fruit has seeds in it until the end of the whole world. And therefore, therefore, if you do a good deed, even when you've stopped doing that deed, according to the Torah, for instance, you give charity. So you give charity one time. You don't have to keep giving charity every single second. Brand new. You give charity. you put on tefillin. You did it one time. You put on tefillin for how long? 5 minutes, right? So even when you stopped, let's say you have to do something else, or whether it's talking about you rest in order that you can have power to do it, or you want to go to eat, you want to go sleep, or a time of sleeping, right? You're learning Torah, you have to stop. That the soul, it says, when you sleep, your soul becomes renewed, new power. That then you have to, then you have to stop your deed or your speech or even your thought, right? Even your thought. Let's say the person's in business and he's thinking about ideas of Torah. Now he has a business deal that he has to do. So he has to think about the business deal. He has to be honest. He has to provide good services for people. You can't be thinking about the Torah all the time. So it says it doesn't make any difference. When you were thinking about the Torah, you were saying words of Torah, you were saying positive things, you were doing positive things. Those positive things have an eternal, constant, infinite effect. Harizeh, but often this is a way of zara. It's like a seed that's planted, and it keeps the thing alive, and it keeps the person that did it alive. It's not really one thing that stopped when you stopped doing it, but it's really a living deed in a way that's continuing forever. So one good deed that a Jew did 2,000, 3,000 years ago, right? In the desert, when they were wandering around in the desert, that thing is eternal. Liota Pulav Zazuria, because it's planting a seed that it'll grow up fruits and fruits of fruits and infinite. Shebezen, and this Nikar, we can see the infinity, the non-stop life that it is. Hu b'chaim. That's what it says, that Yaakov did not die, just like his children are alive, so he's alive. His children are alive, but doesn't call them his children. It says like his seed is alive. This refers to, of course, Jacob, our father, but it refers to every single Jew and everything that we do. Every single deed that is done in the course of a person's life. This is made by the Nasal Yadezeh Shemagala Bechinas Yaakov. This means you have to reveal the aspect of Jacob, which is found inside of us. Yud, Akev. Yud is the highest aspect of God, and Akev is the lowest. The Yud, this hints at the inner point of Judaism inside of every Jew, the essence of the soul, namely that it is a portion of God from above. This is how the Jews are called the sons of God. And that's the Yud of the name of God. That this is the first letters of Shehu Rosh Tevis, to call Hashem. This is the first letter, the letter Yud. This represents the whole name of God. Shenimshach, this is drawn down, and it permeates all of his being until the Akev, until the heels. Yud is the highest aspect, until Akev means the heel, the lowest aspect. That's what every Jew is here for. Therefore, Nikar Tokev Hanitzchus has recognized the power of the infinity of the essence of the soul in everything that a Jew does, if he's doing it from the essence of his soul, which is not hard to do. You're just doing it because you're a Jew. This is a way of planting that by means of this is being grown up. The results are infinite results. And also this, and this is the main thing, that if you plant and do one good deed, this brings that semicha de geula. This brings the total growth of the blossoming of the future redemption. Like the Rambam says, like the Maimonides says, that by means of one command, one mitzvah, one good deed, one good word, one good thought, you could tilt yourself and the whole entire world to the side of merit, and you cause salvation and blessing to the whole world. Then each and every Jew will have infinite life. Simply, beginning in the Jewish people in this generation, souls and bodies, and they should live right now forever. Not only 140 years like the life of Yaakov, right? 47 years. Yaakov lived 47 years, and not just 180 years like Yitzchak, but eternal life. Every Jew should have eternal life. And similarly, the Jewish people in all the generations. It says, Yakitzu v'Yiranu, that all the dead will raise up. And this is also to all the Jewish people in all the generations that are going to come afterwards until the end of all generations, eternal life. May it be God's will. Just the resolution that we make, that we decide, okay, you know what? This raising of the dead business and the blessing business, okay, listen, that's up to God. But I'm going to do one more good deed. What does it hurt? What does it hurt? I'm going to do one more good deed in a way that it's going to be like planting. I'm going to do it without thinking about the results. I'm just going to do it because God said to do it. And that's like planting a seed. This is even before you do it, thinking about it. This will be a zuriya, then this will be the planting. This will be the putting down the seed that brings the growth of the blossoming of the future redemption actually. Take of him yad immediately. In this Shabbat Chazak of the book of the first book of the Torah, the book of Genesis. Chazak means that when we finish it, everyone says Chazak, Chazak. This includes, Chazak means to be strong, strengthen. This includes strengthening all of the 5 books of Moses and all of the 24 books of the Torah until the completion of Divrei Yamim, the book of Chronicles. In Vayal, it says, Vaha Aliyah, that will go up, that all the Jewish people will go from the exile into the redemption. And before we read the Torah in Mincha, the Rebbe was speaking this on Shabbat, and we start reading the next week's Torah portion, Elish Shemot Bnei Israel, that came into Egypt, it will already be Reuven and Shimon, all the Jewish people will go out of Egypt. All of the 12 tribes, all of the fathers, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, all the mothers, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Moshe, Aaron, who will be with them, the Nasi Dorein, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Yosef of our generation, shall lo mate, that he didn't die. Kamo Yaakov Avinu, just like Yaakov Avinu, he didn't die. And Yosef didn't die, and the previous Rebbe did not die. Like it's known, there's a Nasi, that the leader of the generation is called the Nasi. Nasi, in English they translate it as a president, but Nasi means the most elevated. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was the Nasi of the generation. Nasi is Nitzutz Shel Yaakov Avinu, a spark of Jacob our father. And by means of surrendering ourselves and attaching ourselves to the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe and his teachings, and the Rebbe said so many times that he's just a continuation of the previous Rebbe. By means of this is drawn into every single person of the generation. And just, I mean, a short, innuendo, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he stood single-handedly against Stalin's Russia. Now that was just, totally not, how do you say, understandable. How it defies all intellect, how any one person could stand so brazenly and openly against Stalin. I mean, there's some opinions that say that Stalin killed 50 million people. Anyone that thought anything about Stalin bad would get killed. And here all of a sudden he's standing up and he's doing, how could it possibly be? And he won. And the Rebbe said because of him, 70 years later, the Iron Curtain fell. What did he stand against him? What was wrong with Stalin, right? If Stalin, he wasn't allowing Jews to do Torah and the commandments. That's the main thing. And the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said Jews have to do Torah and commandments. Stalin was preventing Jews from doing Torah and commandments physically, but also spiritually. He was teaching all these people of communism, and in communism, there's no such thing as God, and communism is going to save the world, and it's going to improve all of our lot, and religion is just destroying everybody, and it's this, right? And that was his big enemy. And how did he defy Stalin, right? He didn't like put a bomb underneath the Kremlin or something like that. He just continued spreading out Judaism. And this put the crack in Stalin's spiritual agenda, even though he didn't know what it was. Stalin was like the least spiritual person in the world, or so everybody thought. But the fact of the matter is he had a definite agenda, and that is that man should be totally separate from any higher or spiritual power. Man is an animal and has to be treated as an animal. He has to be provided for. And that's exactly the opposite of what the Rebbe taught. The Rebbe taught that every man is a creation of God, and every human being is precious to God, and every human being has an obligation to believe in God. And the previous Rebbe won, and so we will win over our exile. And one of the ways is to be attached to Yosef. That's what his name is, Yosef. Like it says, V'osaf nidche, that God will, Osaf means to gather. The scattered people of Israel and the Yafutzas and the dispersed of Judah will be gathered together from the four corners of the world. From the four corners of the world. Where did he get this idea from? 1:7. This is a prophet from Isaiah. Every of Isaiah, there it is. The Jews will be gathered from the four corners of the world. Our sons, our children, our elders, our sons, our daughters, and God will be with them, because it says that God suffers when the Jews are in exile. God, it says, will ochez biyado, that God will grab the hand of every single Jew individually from his place. Like it says, Atem tilkatu la'echad achad b'nei Yisrael, you will be gathered one at a time, the Jewish people. Another sentence from Isaiah. And you will be gathered one at a time, Jewish people. Umeshiv et kulam, God will return all of them. It doesn't say that he will return, it says Meshiv, Shav Hashem Elokecha. Like it says, they will be Umeshiv et kulam, Shav imam, that God will return with them. God is also in exile. The Jewish people are his children, special sons of God, together with all the synagogues, and together with all the places of learning, and together with all the places of giving charity and kindness, and with all the books and all the handwritten things. They say, like for instance, in Morocco, that there were these tremendous tzaddikim in Morocco, righteous Jews, and that they wrote tremendous volumes. I mean, they knew the whole Torah, they knew all the Kabbalah, and they had nowhere to. They didn't know what to do with them. They couldn't print them, so they buried them. A lot of them, they buried them. They put them in special places, and these will all be revealed. All that came from Chutz La'aretz, beginning from the synagogues of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, 770. That's going to fly first. Beit Rabbeinu Shabbavel, which we'll talk about that later, and also all the houses, the individual houses of every single Jew. They will become really houses of Torah and Tefillah and Gemil Chasadim. They'll all fly to Israel. It says, don't worry about your money. Your money will fly there with you too. It says, Kasbam b'zahav mitam, your silver and your gold. Everything will fly to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem, Ir HaKodesh, and to the third temple. And each and every person, kol echad ve'echad, each and every person will show with his finger and say, Hine Mashiach Tzidkenu. Here is the Mashiach. Hine Kavod Kedushas Morichami Admar Nasir. This is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Mashiach. Hine Elokeinu Zeh. This is God. Zeh Keli Van Veil. This is my God, and I will praise him. Like they said when they went over Yam Suf, they went over. They said, "This is God." They pointed. It says even the fetuses in the wombs of the mothers. Hine Ashulchan Aruch, the Shulchan. Behold, the table is set, and it's all prepared for the meal of Leviathan, of this miraculous, whatever is fish, and the shora bar, and this also miraculous ox, and wine and shumar, and this wine. It says that somehow or other the conglomerate of all the good deeds that we've did, or it's caused what it is. It's a big mystery what it is. It explains it in writings of Chassidut that these are different types of tzaddikim and things, but that's not the main thing. It'll actually be a meal, actual physical shabisumo, and all the Jews will partake of it. In the end, Omer, it says, David Malch Moshiach, King David, God will say, you know what, you make the blessing after the eating, and you say, I will bless, and it's proper that I should bless. Let's begin with this meal of Motzi Shabbat. In addition to the Rebbe used to push that people should make a meal Motzi Shabbat, Malava Molka, and Hidvarut on Shabbat. That this should be something like Yom Shekula Shabbat. It'll be something like the day which is totally Shabbat, and it'll be the meal of King David, the Malcha Mashiach, and especially on the Yom Rishon, Yom Chamesh Asar B'Chodesh, on the 15th day of the month, which that's going to be, but that was actually by us, it hadn't come yet, but by us, it's the 15th day of the month. Anyway, so for certainly, you should make meals unifying the Jews and celebrating that any second Mashiach is going to come, that it should be, the main thing is these meals should be together with King David. Since that Od Lifnei, even before this, on Shabbat, it says, all of the synagogues in the world will come with Anani Shemaya on the clouds of heaven, La'artzeinu Kedusha, to the holy land, to Jerusalem, the holy city, to the holy mountain, to the holy house, Beit HaMikdash, and to the Holy of Holies. All of the Jewish people should all come together with all of their good deeds, all their good thoughts, all their good words, all of their possessions from all of the generations will all come to the land of Israel. So it won't be a housing problem. God will take care of all of it. And there won't be any rental problems. There won't be any, how do you say, arguments from the next door neighbors. Hey, you landed on my land. Your house landed in my backyard. Don't worry about it. God will take care of the whole thing. But it's going to happen for sure. And we'll all be there together. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, God willing, tomorrow morning there will be a class in the Kuti Sichot, 8:15 in the morning. Thank you very much.